Have you ever been invited to join a club? How about forced to? Hey, I'm Jared with Untold Ministries, and I'd like to talk to you today if you have or have had a child in the NICU. Welcome to the club. We're a growing number of NICU parents. We've seen a lot. We've felt a lot. Some of us have grown numb because of the stress. This isn't a club that you really want to be invited to, and yet here we are. This is a time to lean into the truth that you know. This is an experience that will test your character. For me, I had to fight everything within me that just wanted to freak out. And there was so much to be angry about had I chosen that path. I supported Jen in doing everything that a pregnant woman was supposed to do, and as she avoided everything that a pregnant woman's supposed to avoid. So if we did everything right, what went wrong? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This happened for a reason. I don't know why, and I've had to come to peace with not needing to understand why. I can tell you, this trial, this test, was not senseless. It had lots of ups and what felt like way too many downs. But that's life. And looking back, I don't believe there was anything about our NICU experience that was wrong. This certainly challenged my trust that God was in control. But I found a peace in knowing that I wasn't in control. There was nothing I could do for our little Thaddeus. I had to surrender. I had to trust. Jen and I met some amazing people in the NICU. Nurses, therapists, doctors, and people who took care of our little Thaddeus in special ways. I remember one time going up to the NICU and pausing for a moment before I entered the room with Thaddeus, and I just got to witness the nurse just loving on Thaddeus, really, as she took care of him. She was just chatting with him and singing to him as though he was her own. He was in such good hands on this earth, and he was in God's hands from before he was even born. We also met other parents in the NICU. Some parents worried a lot. Some parents were angry at the world for what they were going through and what their child was going through. Some clearly didn't want to be a part of the club. You probably don't want to be a part of it either. Neither did we. I don't blame you. But it wasn't like we had a whole lot of choice in the matter, right? So I chose to embrace it and try to look at the positives. Like being able to see our son grow and develop. I got to watch him hit milestones that normally happened when a baby is developing inside of mommy. His eyes were still fused shut when he was born at 24 weeks. And I have a picture from the first time they opened. And kids born that premature, they don't even have butt cheeks yet. That's something we can laugh about, right? The diapers are so tiny. They're cute little diapers, really. I chose to be thankful that I had the opportunity to hold Thaddeus's hand and bond with him in ways that I couldn't have had he still been inside of mommy for the third trimester. I encourage you, if you find yourself in that place, to find somebody else who's been in the club. Someone who's been there. Someone who can listen to you and as you process through the bumps and the heartache that can be associated with life in the NICU. We're fortunate enough to have a great team of nurses who helped guide us through on the medical front. And there's nothing that I can tell you that's going to make this easier. But hopefully, you can find some strength to pull through easier. One thing you need to be aware of as you travel this journey in the weeks, months, and even maybe years ahead is people who aren't a part of the club. People just don't understand sometimes. I remember our first outing as a family after Thaddeus came home from the NICU. There was a guy at this restaurant who just was staring at our little bundle of joy in this car carrier and the cords and tubes that were connected to this little bag that had his oxygen tank and monitor, among other things. And after a moment of time of just staring, he finally got up the nerve to ask, "What's wrong with him?" How do you begin to even answer that question? Thaddeus was in the NICU for 110 days. There was no way I could begin to explain the emotional roller coaster that we were not even quite off of yet. I couldn't begin to start drawing diagrams about all of the medical diagnoses that he'd either gained or that he had dodged or had beaten while he was in the NICU. People who aren't a part of the club will never know what it's like to watch a team of doctors and nurses struggling with everything they've got to keep the tiny heart beating of your loved one as you feel in the back of your neck that cold breath from a shadow, from a valley that we don't talk about up in the NICU. But I get it. I understand. I've been there. And if you find yourself in that place and you can feel that cold breath on your neck, there are several things you need to keep in mind. First is you are not alone. And your baby is not alone. And maybe most importantly, that cold, dark shadow does not reign supreme. That shadow has to answer to a God that is in control. I found peace knowing that I didn't need to understand why. And I didn't need to understand or know what was going to happen next. For me, I knew that if I focused on the fact that God conquered death and that in time, everything was going to be all right, everything was going to work out, no matter what, then I would be okay. Thaddeus would be okay. And knowing that made breathing just a little bit easier in that moment. And I was able to find some peace. Now, if you don't know God like a friend, or feel like you can talk to him at any time for any reason, please reach out. We would love to hear what you're going through. And if you're willing, you could join a different kind of club. One that, unlike the NICU and being forced into, this club is completely optional. It's a club of people who know God. We aren't perfect. Really, really far from it, actually. And we don't have all the answers, though at times we've been known to pretend that we do. We're just a group of people that meet regularly, all around the globe, to share in each other's lives and to learn about our great God and the wonderful things that He's done for us. No one should force you to join. This club, is completely optional. So, yeah, I feel like you've helped me in my life just by being there and watching this series, and I am so grateful. Thank you. And I've got a happy surprise planned for the next video as we wrap up this series called Thoughts on Thaddeus. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, please take a moment and a deep breath, and won't you consider joining the club of God's friends?